This is a series of 100 films about Japanese foods I've eaten, and this is a film about deep-fried food on sticks. If you've been to Japan, you'll know the two major cities are Tokyo and Osaka. Tokyo is the capital and the center of business. Osaka, though, is seen as to be a lot more fun.
Osaka is traditionally a merchant city with gaudy store facades and endless shopping arcades. The rich people tended to live in the nearby cities like Kyoto or Kobe, each about half an hour away.
South Osaka has a more of a working class ethos, a place where people have a distinct local accent and slang, which is why a lot of comedians come from South Osaka. Ageru.
In Osaka, people talk to you. In Tokyo, half the people will refuse to respond. Weirdly, for foreigners, Tokyo residents are more likely to acknowledge you if you speak to them in English.
The other big difference is that Osaka has a lot more poor people. There's even a major homeless encampment near Dobutsuenmae station, something the local government would rather not draw attention to since it's pretty much the only one that big in Japan.
In Osaka, the north is called Umeda. The south is the area around Shinsekai, which was originally designed as an amusement park. Now, this was 100 years ago, and as time went on, things got rougher and rougher.
Shinsekai has a futuristic-looking observation tower, and I remember one time I went there with a friend. We got off the train at Dobutsuenmae station, and Dobutsuen means zoo. So exiting the station, we took an underground passageway to get to the restaurant area. And all I can remember was a tunnel of homeless men and the smell of urine.
When we finally emerged into the light, we found ourselves surrounded by rows of restaurants, all with gaudy, multicolored signs. Nothing subtle about it. It felt like Disneyland, except all the signs are in Japanese and it's rough. One of the more dangerous places in Japan, in fact.
However, compared to most countries, it's still pretty safe, and it's the Kushkatsu capital of Japan. Kushikatsu is basically deep-fried things on sticks. Now, I originally heard about this kushikatsu from a friend, a co-worker from Flint, Michigan. We used to work in Tama Plaza in Yokohama, and he'd like to visit Osaka. It's great, he said. You go in, you pay $1 or $2, at most $2.50, and you get 1 or 2 sticks of something deep-fried. Ageru.
And kushikatsu restaurants are great. You go in, order a beer. Most places have a vast menu. And kushikatsu can be anything. Mochi, cheese, vegetables, even meat, or even mushrooms, as long as it's been deep fried and breaded.
And there's a dipping sauce. Now, these places are definitely not gourmet. Let's put it this way. You share your dipping sauce with your neighbor, the person sitting next to you, which is funny because most Japanese people don't like to share anything with strangers. One of the more interesting things about these restaurants is that you can order kushikatsu made of the Japanese puffer fish. It's called fugu, and it's extremely dangerous. You need a license to sell it, and it's one of the most common fish found off the Pacific coast of Japan. You can fish them right out of Sagami Bay with glands that are highly poisonous. And when I was in Japan, a Thai woman actually died because she was sold fugu parts, and she made a soup in it, and then she died, sadly. So be careful how you make your soup.
In fancy restaurants, people actually pay for the experience of eating Fugu Sashimi, where they literally risk their lives. The idea is that the flesh of the fish gives a slight numbing sensation, a slight tinge of death.
But only licensed expert chefs prepare it, so it's very unusual for people in Japan to die from fugu. Now, so when I ordered the fugu kushikatsu, I wondered, oh my God, should I be prepared for death for this? And I ate it. I was fine. In fact, it wasn't anything particularly memorable, maybe a bit rubbery, in fact.
Later on, I brought this up with one of my English students, and he said, oh, yeah, they raise the kushikatsu fugu on farms without the poisonous sacs.
Why will my friends love it? Well, what's great about kushikatsu is that even if you don't like fish, they have a whole variety of foods you can order on sticks. Okra is delicious when it's breaded and deep fried, and so is lotus root and shrimp, and it's a fun atmosphere to go and drink beer. Why will my friends hate it? Well, the communal dipping sauce is a little bit messy. You always see a few crumbs in them. It's kind of a turn-off. Where can I get it? That's right, you guessed it, this place, Kushkatsu Yokozuna Bekkin. This was my first experience with kushikatsu, and what an experience it was. Look at that facade. You might think it's easy to find, but no, because all the other kushikatsu places in this neighborhood look exactly the same. If you're new to Japan, you'll probably want to start in Tokyo from Shinjuku Station. Since it's the busiest train station in the world, take the Yamanote line to Shinagawa Station, then transfer to the Nozomi Shinkansen bound for Osaka. When you get there, change to the Mizonokuchi subway line, which will take you all the way to Dobutsuenmae Station. Go out the north ticket gate and take exit 5, right beside a giant Don Quijote store. Head north away from the train line, walk 2 blocks, and then turn right. Walk 1 more street and Kushkatsu Yokozuna Bekkin is on your left. It'll have giant lights and Buddhist statues. As always, keep in mind this information may be out of date by the time you're watching this. The word of the day. The word of the day is ageru. This is a verb that means to deep fat fry. It's useful because it makes up parts of other words like karaage, which is a deep fried chicken ball. And feel free to watch this film 10 more times and repeat along with me. At least that's what I do. Next time. So that's it until next time when we find out the most fun way to blow your paycheck, Japanese style. So until then, sayonara.